All right, we will get started. It is very exciting to go and have such a great group of people on this webinar today. Thank you so much for joining the webinar, Leading Change, Youth-Powered Solutions for Mental Health. Just a couple of house rules before we get started. This meeting is being recorded and can be shared with everyone later. So you know we are recording this. To kick us off, if you can please share your name, your organization, and also where you are joining from, and also your interest in the Youth Mental Health Corps, if this is an initiative that's new to you. Throughout this webinar, we welcome questions, and you can ask those questions in the Q&A function on this Zoom, and we'll answer your questions during the Q&A portion towards the end of the webinar. So just to introduce myself, my name is Fiona Young, and I am a program officer at the Schultz Family Foundation. I lead the foundation's portfolio around national service, and our work in national service at the foundation started about 5 years ago during the start of the pandemic, where we were working in the state of Washington to address food insecurity, while also giving youth opportunities to explore careers and also gain skills, job skills that could help lead them to a fulfilling and economically mobile career. Our work in national service has grown to almost 24 states over the last 5 years, and we've been really excited to go and partner with states to use national service as a way to address community and state needs, while also giving young people the opportunity to really go and gain that pathway into careers. Now, our work in the Youth Mental Health Corps, the Youth Mental Health Corps was launched this past fall, and it was created in partnership between the Schultz Family Foundation, Pinterest, AmeriCorps, and also states around the country. And we launched the Youth Mental Health Corps in 4 states this past fall. We have a couple of representatives here. We have John Kelly from Colorado, Madison Fulstead from Minnesota, and also Josiah Sanchez from Colorado as well. And the work of the Youth Mental Health Corps is really about leveraging the power of young adults, passionate young adults, as peers to youth in schools, community-based organizations, and also health clinics to go and be that trusted adult for youth and young adults who are looking for support around their mental health and well-being. And we have this year, we have placed over 300 young adults in the Youth Mental Health Corps across these 4 states. And we have for the upcoming, this upcoming fall of 2026, we are bringing on an additional 11 states an additional 7 states who will be launching a Youth Mental Health Corps this fall, and also bringing an additional 7 states who will be planning a Youth Mental Health Corps for launch in fall of 2026. So before we get started, I wanted to go, the most exciting part of the work that we do is very much around the young people who are serving in the Youth Mental Health Corps. And so I wanted to go and have an opportunity to go and let you hear from the voices of some young people who are serving. And these are young people from that are serving in these 4 states and are also part of the Youth Mental Health Corps Leadership Fellows Program.
I've really learned both through my service with the Youth Mental Health Corps as well as my time as a substitute teacher is that these kids are carrying so much weight on their backs. They face food insecurity, they face abuse, they are facing all kinds of things that are really just impacting their mental health, their ability to learn, and their ability to thrive.
No one is watching them to guide them away from negative behaviors or feeling safe or how they need to exist in the world.
Being a near peer is so helpful for these students because we relate more closely to them, and some of these challenges they don't have to deal with on their own. They can confide in me.
Having an adult in a school that they trust and they want to talk to is a huge factor, and sometimes even getting the kids to like show up to school.
You can have as many trainings as you'd like, but really being in the field, that is the most real experience of what these children endure and the issues that they and their families face.
I think that the Youth Mental Health Corps has enabled me to have an opportunity to holistically approach my students, to really connect with them and do it in a fashion that is productive and safe.
It's just, I'm here as your equal and I've been there, and let's help each other succeed.
And as you can see from that video, those are just a few of the 300 plus young adults that we have serving in the Youth Mental Health Corps that are serving close to 10,000 students and youth directly over this past academic year, and who are really providing their time and their service to go and work with students one-on-one in small groups, to receive trainings that help them go and support these students and youth, and at the same time also have the opportunity to earn industry recognized and desired skills, experiences, certifications, and credentials as they are doing their service in the Youth Mental Health Corps. Now, today we have a really great set of speakers to go and share with all of us their experiences in the Youth Mental Health Corps. And we will start off first with John Kelly, who is the Executive Director of Serve Colorado, one of our state partners in the Youth Mental Health Corps. And I'm going to go and turn it over to John to have him introduce himself and also to share with us the importance of the state of Colorado being in the Youth Mental Health Corps and why it sees this to be such a valuable initiative in Colorado for the state, communities, students, youth, and all of these young people that are serving. John?
Thank you so much, Fiona, and thanks everyone for joining. To give a little bit of background, my name is John Kelly. I'm the Executive Director of Serve Colorado. So we're the State Service Commission, and we support and fund all the AmeriCorps programs in the state of Colorado. I work directly under our Lieutenant Governor, and mental health has been a major priority of our governor and our lieutenant governor since they took office. Matter of fact, the governor created a task force to address the mental health crisis, and he appointed the lieutenant governor to head that up. And it resulted in the creation of a brand new state agency, the Behavioral Health Administration. And as the lieutenant governor was kind of overseeing the creation of this agency, she kept asking us at Serve Colorado how AmeriCorps could contribute to addressing the crisis of mental health that was across our state. And specifically, the lieutenant governor was pointing to the fact that there was a major shortage of mental health workers, and that the crisis of mental health was particularly acute with youth in the state. And so I think some of the stats that she pointed to was that the behavioral health job openings in Colorado experienced an increase of 152% since 2019. And that was the largest increase in job openings in any industry in the state. And so she really wanted us to think about how we may be able to play a role, not only in addressing the immediate impact of the mental health crisis, but also training people to go into careers in the mental health field. And it was at this time she was asking these questions that I got connected up with Pinterest and the Schultz Family Foundation, AmeriCorps headquarters, and AmeriCorps Forward, who were having these conversations about the creation of a youth mental health corps. And it was actually their leadership and partnership that really facilitated us to create the Youth Mental Health Corps here in Colorado. Their grant offering, I was able to leverage that to engage in conversations with our new behavioral health administration and also our community college system. And so they have been working together to develop new pathways into the mental health workforce. And they were kind of nearing the end of the design phase of creating these 5 new micro credentials that were stackable on top of each other, and really the entry point into a career into the mental health field. And so as they were nearing the end of that design phase, I think one of the community colleges, the Community College of Aurora, who's been a fantastic partner for us and was a leader in creating these credentials, they had hoped to attract 20 of their students to obtain a beginning behavioral health credential in the first year. And through our launching of the Youth Mental Health Corps, we were able to bring them 80 brand new individuals that were not part of their student body and be part of their cohort in that pilot year. So, as we are wrapping up our first year, it's been an incredible experience for us so far. Our original goal was to start with 50 participants in the first year, and we've had over 130 across 5 different programs. I think there's 65 different sites that youth mental health corps workers serve. And they've worked with, we're estimating around 4,500 youth. We've gotten extremely positive feedback, but maybe Josiah in a minute, you'll hear directly from him about what his experience has been like. To give you a little bit of a sense of the member experience of what it's like, all of our youth mental health corps members receive about $20 per service hour, the equivalent of. And they also have their education and training and the credentials paid for with the community college. So they're co-enrolled in the community college, receiving these courses and earning their credentials. And they're also serving in schools or after school programs, working with kids every day that have been identified by teachers or the administrators who need assistance and are often experiencing mental health issues. And so it's been an incredible first year. It's wrapping up now, and we're now beginning to recruit and enroll for year 2. We hope to maintain the same size footprint going into the second year. And then we're beginning conversations about sustainability and what it looks like to make this a permanent program in the state. So it's been an incredible experience thus far for the state of Colorado. So I'll end my overview there because Josiah is actually a much better ambassador for the program because he's actually doing the work and working with kids in schools. And Fiona and I got to visit with him a little earlier this year, and Marie as well. So I'll turn it over to Josiah now to talk a little bit about his experience.
Thanks so much, John. And Josiah, welcome today. If you wouldn't mind sharing who you are and also where you're serving and how long you've been a part of the Youth Mental Health Corps, that'll introduce you to our audience. And then we'll have you share a little bit about your experience as a Youth Mental Health Corps member.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me here, and thank you for everybody for showing up. So, I am Josiah Sanchez. I am here in Denver, Colorado, serving at Lake Middle School. I serve as a re-engagement specialist. So, essentially, what I do is I serve as a critical bridge between students and families and other school staff to support overall just consistent attendance and academic progress with all of our students. And most importantly, kind of like what the whole youth mental health core initiative is, it's like their well-being as well. I am placed through CYC and just some other stuff that I do within like my everyday day-to-day like life at the school is I identify and support chronically absent or disengaged students that we may have at Lake. So either they're referred to me or when we're pulling reports and there's anybody that falls into percentile we get all these reports and we can go ahead and see which students need a little bit more attention. They can come to me that way, or honestly, they can come up to me. I have a pretty open door policy in my office. So um, the school did a good job at letting them know that that I was here. And if they wanted to just walk in and get some help, they can go ahead and do that as well with me. I also conduct family and student outreach. So that's either calling parents to let them know any positive or negative changes in school life, or if we can just go ahead and talk to them for engagement. I can even do home visits, just overall, just to provide a better understanding of engagement. I also coordinate with service and referrals. So anything that's school-based and community resources, I have the ability to go ahead and help allocate or make references over so they can get that, whether that be arch referrals for school to provide a little bit of more support, food, any therapy. We work very close with our social workers here at the school, so we're always in tandem with each other. We collaborate on school teams. So either if that's like a one-on-one plan with teachers, or I'm on the attendance team, for example. So I meet every Wednesday and we go ahead and look at our targeted connected groups and log and take data and see what we can learn from that. Any like support re-engagement teams that we have, just really just so we can be plugged in everywhere and really know what's going on. I also track and report data to CYC and the school. That's a pretty essential thing that all of the youth mental health core members do. And personally, like my favorite is act as a liaison just between families and schools, of just fostering relationships and trust with us and the school and their kids. I always like a popular thing that I say too is like they're your babies at home, but they're our babies once they get here. So just overall, just fostering that relationship and building trust between the overall community. But that's pretty much what I do on a daily day. This role requires lots of trauma-informed care, cultural responsiveness, case management, strong understanding of your community and the history of that community and its supports that are available. Just kind of like tying it all in together. I feel like the majority of us in this program, we help students not only to stay in school, but to feel seen, valued, and capable of success. And that is something that I feel all of us provide. I have had nothing short of a great experience through Colorado Youth of a Change and AmeriCorps, getting to meet everybody and just getting an overall sense of my opinion matters and like developing professionally. It's been nothing short of a great experience for sure.
Josiah, that is really amazing, all that you've done at Lake Middle School and how you've been integrated into the school with the school staff. As John mentioned, Marie Gork, who's on the call as well, who's the managing director at the Schultz Family Foundation. And I also had the opportunity to go and see you in action at Lake Middle School. And just from our experience in sort of shadowing you, getting an opportunity to meet you and some of the students you work with, one of the questions that came up for us is, was it overwhelming for you to come in and do this? What sort of trainings did you receive as a youth mental health core member? I saw somebody in the chat say, is Josiah a social worker? So, it's a lot that you're doing at the school and integrated into the school. So how well prepared do you feel to do how well prepared did you feel to do all of this at the beginning, and what supports and trainings have you received?
Yeah, so I went to college for an international relations degree. So just being in the field of helping people and like understanding people and where they come from was something that I feel like prepared me in a sense for like what career path I wanted to choose. I feel like nobody really is prepared to walk into a middle school though, like especially like right before lunch or after lunch. So that I wasn't really like prepared for. But um as far as like cultural responsiveness and case management skills and strong understanding of your community, that's something that Colorado Youth for a Change and this whole youth mental health program has really provided extensive training on. We trained for about like almost 2 weeks right before we actually arrived to our site. So we were pretty informed on everything that we needed to know. And I just feel like this whole experience is a learning experience in itself. So we are going on and learning every day about how we can better like address a kid's needs or get to know them a little bit better, or like what's too much or what's too less. So I feel like the whole thing in itself was a learning experience, but we for sure were equipped with all of like the necessary trainings and tools from CYC. And as like John was saying before, the schooling that we also had through Aurora Community College went in tandem and was side by side during our whole service term. So it was really nice to be like, oh, I just like learned about how to de-escalate this week, and like I just had this situation pop up like yesterday. So like it worked very like cohesively with each other.
Thanks, Josiah. And I will go and ask you a few more questions later, but I wanted to go and turn it over to Madison. Madison, why don't you go and introduce yourself and let us know where you are serving and what state you're in?
Yeah, of course. So my name's Madison Fulstead, and I'm located here in Northfield, Minnesota, about 30 minutes south of the Twin Cities. I'm at a middle school, like I said, so I apologize. I'm actually on site right now. If you hear any chitter chatter in the background or a bell rings, that is what that is. Yeah, I'm in the middle school. I work in the TORCH program here, which stands for Tackling Obstacles, Raising College Hopes. We are a drop-in all-day tutoring center, and not just tutoring, like emotional support, whatever a student needs. It's kind of a come in, tell us what you need kind of place. It's been truly so amazing. I also do a lot of in-class work. So I work with multilingual students, mostly Spanish speaking, on making sure they're understanding what's happening in the class, how to ask questions, communicating with the teachers, and also feeling included amongst the greater student population. We are a fairly small school, so that's been really amazing. I feel like I've been able to connect with so many students in amongst the grade levels. I work with kids ages about 11 to 14. So it's a wide variety of concerns, issues. My 11-year-olds are vastly different than my 14-year-olds. So it's been amazing to interact and greet and build relationships with those kids. It's every day is different. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Great. And Madison, why did you decide to join the Youth Mental Health Corps? What was
Yeah.
appealing about it to you?
I am sorry, I just saw the chat. I'm actually a university student still. I decided to take a gap year. I'm about halfway through, so I'll be continuing in the fall. I'll be a junior. I chose to take a year off to focus on my own mental health. I wanted to really take time to feel better about myself and also to focus more on my career. I just didn't really know what I wanted to do. I still don't think I really have it all figured out, but feeling a lot better about not having it all figured out. So that's important. Um, I over the summer I did a lot of thinking, and I thought I discovered this program through a Facebook ad actually. Um, and I thought, I know I don't have it all figured out. I probably never will. But if I can lend some of my own personal experiences and how I've coped with certain things, if I can lend that to middle schoolers who are very susceptible and in need of guidance, I feel at that age, then why would I not? That felt like such a good opportunity. And I just felt really internally called to share with those kids.
And as you reflect on your experience as a Youth Mental Health Corps member, is there a story or something that you can share around the impact that you've personally seen in the students that you're working with?
Yeah, these kids, they can change so much in such a short amount of time. One student I can think of kind of off the top of my head, she is one of my seventh graders, and I started working with her pretty close to the beginning of the year, so back in September. And at first she was really uninterested in school, not really wanting to do anything, had close to like 30 to 40 missing assignments, and generally fairly standoffish, not really wanting to chat much. But she kept coming in, even if it wasn't to work on homework or do anything. She just kept coming in, and we slowly started to build a bit of a rapport. She started opening up more over time. We talked more. She shared more of her story, started telling me the things she is interested in and what she does enjoy. And eventually we kind of began to transfer that to her schoolwork. How can we apply what you do love and what you do want to work towards to right now in this moment? And I think that's something that's really important, is the kids seeing, why is what I'm doing right now important? Like a lot of the times they don't quite see that yet. So being able to put that into perspective for them, as well as like applying what it is they do like. Like she wants to be a nail tech. So we talked about art classes, and we talked about business and how we can kind of incorporate that now, even at the middle school level. So she slowly started to really see the importance of her education, and now she's a straight A student. She doesn't have any missing assignments. It's truly been one of the most amazing transformations I've seen, and she's so kind, so curious. She comes in every day still. We still have tons of chats. I just talked to her probably 30 minutes ago. So that's been one of my favorite, most amazing things I've seen so far.
That's absolutely amazing, Madison. And Josiah, I'd love if you'd be able to share with us, some of the impact that you've seen, maybe a story or, other ways that you've seen your students impacted, as you've been working with them this year.
Yeah, for sure. So much like Madison, I feel like our students could be very impacted by many things that are just taking place, like just going on in the world right now or just at the home level. At least at my school, a lot of my students are noticing a large impact of gentrification. This is a historical Black and brown neighborhood that Lake is in, and Lake itself is a predominantly Black and brown school. So we see lots of impacts of displacement and food disparity and other things just taking place all across, just like this side of Denver. Some stories that like I have, not like as much as a sad like that, but a lot of my students just like to come in and just sit and talk, and whether it be talking about home or talking about like their favorite rappers right now or anything like that. And I was talking to a student one of those times, and we got pretty close. And much like Madison, once they get in with you, they just kind of start showing up in a really like fun way. But once he started showing up, he started just telling me things that he needed, and such as food and clothes and help with his parents to get phones and other things like that, just basic necessities that we're also grateful to have. So being here and then helping him with that, taking him to go get clothes or taking him to go to school or anything like that is just to me, it's like it shows like the impact that we make and how important we are at the school level to be here and really just be here and be used as a resource for them.
That's terrific. And before I go and turn it over to Marie, I wanted to ask one final question for both of you, for both Josiah and Madison, for both of you. And that is, what do you want people to understand about the Youth Mental Health Corps? And why is this a good investment in our future? So, Madison, I'll go and start with you first.
Sorry, technical difficulty. Um, it is so deeply needed in our communities. There's such a lack of that support, not because of necessarily that not being wanted or needed. There's just not enough people to come fill these roles. It's so important. There's students here that I think they just really need someone to talk to, and that's it. Like, these kids have so much potential and are so great, and the only thing that's stopping them is certain difficulties that they're having in school. And I think it's so important that we have these people who are close in age to them, right? That's something that we can connect with them on a more peer-to-peer kind of level versus that teacher student. There is that kind of dynamic at play versus it with someone they view as a teacher. I remember when I personally was in high school, I would had that teacher that I felt really connected to, but in the back of my mind, I was always like, are you thinking about this later when we're in class? What are you thinking right now? Versus someone that is there just to be supportive and just for them. I think that is something that is deeply needed in our community and in our country right now.
Thanks, Madison. And then Josiah, your thoughts on, what you want people to understand about the Youth Mental Health Corps and why it is such an investment in our youth and in our future.
Yeah, for sure. Kind of touching base on what I said earlier is that we're here to help students not only like stay in school, but feel seen, valued, and capable of success. And us being able to do that out of lived experience, like how Madison said, being like closer in age to them and just having overall that shared lived experience, especially like in the community that I am, being from the same place, my family being from the same place and experiencing the same struggles, it just allows a vessel to be at the school for them at any time that they need, if they need a break in class, if they need a break after class or before lunch, just to be here and overall let them share whatever they had, and most importantly, have a bit of self-agency whenever they walk in our rooms, to know that their decisions and their thoughts matter as well, even if they are younger than teachers and us and everything like that.
And thank you so much, Josiah and Madison. I think, you know, just so well said. And, you know, we really appreciate you being Youth Mental Health Corps members, being a part of this. And I think also as peers and near peers, really being able to go and understand the students and youth that you're working with, as well as being able to go and make sure that they feel seen and heard and supported. And now I'm going to go and turn it over to Marie. And Marie, you know, we'd love to go and hear from you around the importance of the Youth Mental Health Corps, especially as we've been growing this work. It's really exciting that we're growing it to 18 states this year. But, you know, we'd love to go and learn a little bit more about why the Youth Mental Health Corps is so important to the Schultz Family Foundation, and also about the partnership that we have with Pinterest as well.
Hi, Fiona, it's great to see you, and it's great to be here, especially with Josiah and Madison, who I think are just great examples of why the Youth Mental Health Corps is such a key priority for the Schultz Family Foundation. At the Schultz Family Foundation, we believe in creating opportunity accessible to all. And what we've heard today on this call are some of the examples of what that means. For a long time, the Schultz Family Foundation has been focused on the period between adolescence and adulthood. And for a young person, that's a period where you explore, you understand more who you are, what you're capable of, what talents you have, and how you want to apply those talents to do good in the world, to grow your own skills, and ultimately to be able to support your family and be on a pathway of economic mobility and prosperity, whatever that means to you. And so for a long time at the Schultz Family Foundation, we invested in workforce programs and mentorship programs, and we were happy with that work. But in about 2021 or so, we started to hear from our grantees that, in fact, they were having a hard time executing on their work because of the mental health challenges that the young people that they serve were facing. And it was at that point that we realized that we can't really think about this transition from adolescence to adulthood unless we also think about mental health. The other thing that we heard in those conversations was that these community-based organizations and schools were really struggling because they couldn't find people with proximate experience, people like young people like Madison and Josiah. They couldn't find them. There was a behavioral health workforce shortage. And so Sheri Schultz, our trustee, one day called Fiona and I with an idea. And she said, you know, what if we had a youth mental health corps where we were able to expand the capacity of community-based organizations and schools to really meet young people where they are, and in fact to be preventative or meet young people before their mental health challenges became acute. And what if, while young people were having the opportunity to do that, they also got training and earned a credential and began to explore that career and could potentially step into that career at the end of their service? And honestly, when she had that idea, Fiona and I were like, oh my gosh, is something like that even possible? Like, I don't even know. And we had the good fortune of speaking maybe to 100 experts around the country and folks like John Kelly and other state leaders to ask, is this something that's even possible? Do you think community-based organizations would be interested in this? Is there the kind of training that a young person would need to succeed? And the answer was just an overwhelmingly positive yes. And honestly, every call we were on, we were like, you can tell us this isn't possible. And all we heard was like, yes, and it's needed. And I think it shows the power of good ideas, the power of partnership, and the power of bringing other voices in. John and his work in Colorado has been such a leader in really thinking about The power of national service, not just in terms of impacting community, but really being an earn and learn pathway for young people. So when we think about creating opportunity accessible to all, we're thinking about the young people that need support that we've heard from Josiah and Madison today, but we're also thinking about Josiah and Madison and how do we give them opportunities so that they have a chance to explore careers and understand where it is that they want to go next. As we were knee deep in that work, an email that said, "Hey, Pinterest is really interested in starting something like a youth mental health core." And that was the beginning of a beautiful partnership. I saw a question here earlier about challenges in a new program, and I'm sure John, Josiah, Madison, even Fiona could share a few. But I would say that one of the challenges has not been our multi-sector partnership. I think whether you're a state service commission representing the public interest, like a John Kelly, or your Pinterest representing a private corporation, or the Schultz Family Foundation representing philanthropy, all of us are aligned in the values and mission of this program. And what you find is when you are building multi-sector partnerships that have such clear alignment, what happens is you're able to bring the best of each of those sectors to bear down and to help create a type of program that has never existed previously. And so we are excited to continue our work with Pinterest. They're fantastic in many ways, but also just really communicating about the issue, making sure young people are aware of it, using their superpowers for good in that regard. John and the fellow state service commissioners, they've been amazing at brokering relationships with state agencies. We all know that's not always easy to do, but for a youth mental health core to be successful, you need to have relationships with your behavioral health agency, with your higher education agency, with your governor's office, as well as with community programs. And so our state service commissions really sit at the hub of all of that partnership development. And then philanthropy, the Schultz Family Foundation is obviously heavily involved, but we're not the only philanthropy that's working on this. Pivotal, Starbucks, we have the great fortune of having other philanthropies that have come to the table and allowed us to offer to both pilot and innovate. How do we offer member support services for our members around career development, ensuring that they have access to the training and the mental health support that they need. And so it's been an amazing partnership. And we're excited to capture the impact of this work. One of the things we want to make sure we do is continuously report on how it's going, where there's strengths and where there's weaknesses, how can we learn from it so we can continue to refine the program. One last thing, and I think Fiona mentioned this at the top, but I think the most astounding thing to us is how popular and in demand the program is. For a program to go from 4 to 18 states in just 3-year period reflects both a well-constructed program, thanks to everyone on this call, but also the need for this type of work. And I think it shows that we're not alone. All of us are not alone in our care of young people and our concern of young people. And many of us are willing to think about how can we as adults work in new and different ways to really address the challenges and give young people a chance to have a great future.
Thanks, Marie. I think just really well said in terms of how philanthropy, private corporations, and the public can all come together to really think about how to join forces so that we can go and support, address the challenges that we have in our country, be able to go and put each of our superpowers together to build out something that is really amazing, and be sure that we're also engaging the voices of the communities that we're working with and the young people who are engaged in all of this to be all together in addressing something as important as youth mental health. I am going to go and turn it over to the Q&A right now. For everyone who is on, please feel free if you want to go and put in any questions into the Q&A window in your Zoom. I do see one question here. Actually, I see a couple of questions, and they are both for Josiah and Madison. The first one is Josiah and Madison, did you need to have parent permission to work with students? And I think part of this goes into if you could talk a little bit about how you're really embedded in the schools, both as like a youth mental health core, but I think also what it means to be within your schools and your organizations doing this. I will go and turn it to Josiah.
Yeah, so as far as my school, CYC has been a trusted partner of like middle school, so I didn't necessarily need to ask families for permission. I did though reach out to all of the kids that were on my caseload to their parents just to let them know that I am here as another support for their student in any way possible. And if they had any questions pertaining to what supports I have available towards the family and the students in the school, they can more than happily reach out to me and get any other answers that they needed. But we don't typically need permission from the parents unless if it's something that we're dealing with the students with one-on-one, such as like allocating like clothes, food, and other like housing resources that the parents can be incorporated on. But as far at the school level, any student can come up and talk to us and seek for our support.
Yeah, I'm in a similar position. I was placed into an existing program, the Torch program, so I didn't have to get any express permission. I've spoken to a lot of families, certainly, through whether the students have something they want me to communicate to their parents or teachers want me to communicate something to parents, concerns and whatnot. But other than that, no, it's been fairly simple. They can just come in and get whatever help they need.
Thanks. This question I have is for John and also maybe Marie. This question is, what are models? What other models are there for the Youth Mental Health Corps? Are they all placed in middle schools like Josiah and Madison's placements? Maybe I'll go and turn it over to John to talk about what this looks like in Colorado.
Yeah, sure. We actually have a number of different placements. Um, we have youth mental health corps members working in elementary, middle, and high schools, a lot of high schools. And then there's a couple serving in after school programs where they're working with a community of kids that gather together after school. And so really the model is such that we're meeting youth where they're at and where they're already congregating and looking for resources and support. So we have wanted to experience what it would be like to have people working at all different age groups. And then there's also some variance in the credentials being earned and the training that's going on. And so we have a handful of folks that are actually doing their practicum for a master's in social work. And so they have already a lot of training and experience in this field. And then a lot of folks who are straight out of high school and have never taken a higher ed class before in their life, and they are earning their very first credential. So there's variance in the model in Colorado for sure.
I'd also like to note as well that across the 4 states that we started off in, Colorado, Minnesota, Michigan, and Texas, that there are other placements that members are in. We have some members that are in health clinics, pediatric health clinics, community-based mental health clinics, or behavioral health clinics. We have some members that are in youth serving organizations, not just after school and out of school time programs, but also youth development programs as well. So we really are looking at, and see that members are serving in a wide variety of organizations and institutions, especially, with the focus on where the youth already are, so that we're able to go and reach them. Okay, I have one question here about other states that we're bringing our program to. And then, so for this coming year, so I mentioned that the first 4 states that launched Youth Mental Health Corps, Colorado, Michigan, Minnesota, and Texas. And then for this coming fall, we also have Colorado, Iowa, Maryland, New York, Oregon, Virginia, and Utah that will be launching a youth mental health core. And then we have 7 other states that are designing a youth mental health core for intended launch in fall of 2026. And that is Arkansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, and Washington. And I think that goes and leads to another question that we have here that I'm going to go and ask Marie to answer. And that is, what is the best way for someone who is interested in participating in the Youth Mental Health Core? What's the best way for them to be involved? And I think, Marie, if you can go and talk about that from the perspective of different stakeholders that might be interested in being a part of the Youth Mental Health Core.
Yeah, happy to. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, this is a multi-sector partnership and involves all different types of people to make it work. So I think if you're a young person that's interested in joining the Youth Mental Health Core, being part of the Youth Mental Health Core, I encourage you to go to youthmentalhealthcore.org, and that will give you information about what is happening in your state and how to apply to be part of the Youth Mental Health Core in your state. If you're a nonprofit that wants to have a Youth Mental Health Core member as part of your program, I also encourage you to go to youthmentalhealthcore.org site. And then I think the key thing is to reach out to your state service commissioner. And if you don't know who that is, then just reach out to info@youthmentalhealthcore.org, and the Youth Mental Health Core team can connect you with your state service commissioner. If you are a funder and want to understand how you might be able to support the Youth Mental Health Core in your community, we would love to have you. There are many different ways that funders can be part of this work. And again, feel free to email info@youthmentalhealthcore.org, and we will definitely get back to you. And lastly, I think we just also really appreciate great storytelling. I think the power of this work is in the stories and the relationships that Youth Mental Health Core members are building with their young people. And so if you're someone who is a storyteller and wants to be part of that effort, I think really showing that young people are able to serve and support other young people in a way that just shares with all of us why we're in good hands with the upcoming generation. And so we encourage you to tell that story if you're able.
Thanks, Marie. A couple of other questions that I'll take on. Somebody asked if this is a 1 or 2 year core commitment, and if members stay embedded in one school or one service site. That can very much vary according to the program and how a program has been built out. For some programs, members have the opportunity to go and sign back up for to participate in the Youth Mental Health Core for another year, and that could be at their current service site or at a site at another site. And then another question that I saw is, are all Youth Mental Health Core members also AmeriCorps members? And that also varies according to the program as well. All of the current programs that we have right now in the 4 states that I mentioned are all AmeriCorps programs, but for some of the upcoming programs that we'll have launching in the 7 states this fall, some will be AmeriCorps programs and some may be funded through other funding streams as well. And then there is a great question here, and that is for Madison and Josiah. And that is about whether or not you're thinking about careers in behavioral health after your Youth Mental Health Core service. And, with the credentials and certifications that you've obtained and the trainings that you've received, are you thinking about a behavioral health career or something adjacent to behavioral health for your next opportunity? Madison.
Hi there. I don't entirely have it all figured out yet. I know this experience has taught me so much, not only about what I do want in a career, but also what I don't want in a career. And I think for me, the important thing I've learned is that it's really crucial that I do something that allows me to connect with others and also allows me to tell stories. Again, that's something that's really important to me. I am an English and political science major. That is what I'm currently going for. So seeing how I can meld those two things in the future, I think is something that this has taught me that's I really want, and that's something that I'm going to try to pursue. As for what that exactly that is, I'm not sure yet, but I've learned to be okay with not being entirely sure yet. And as for the certifications that we obtained at the beginning of the year, I think that is going to be something that is great to have just in my arsenal, in my toolkit going forward. I think you can never be too well equipped to deal with whatever comes your way. So I very much value that.
Thanks, Madison, and totally okay to not know exactly what you want to do right now, but this experience and what you bring from this experience and the skills that skills and certifications that you've earned really you'll find in a few years, 5, 10 years, that it'll really shape your trajectory in what you do in a career. And then Josiah.
For myself, yeah, most definitely. I graduated with my undergrad in 2022, so I feel like this opportunity really kind of like allowed me to harness in and focus on what area I want to help people in. I knew I wanted to help people post undergrad, but just not in what way. So this most definitely has catapulted me into like wanting to be like a community or family student liaison, any of those individually or all together, or have a career in restorative practice. I do think I want to stay at the middle school level. I actually really, really enjoy all of the chaos. So I hope to stay in a middle school or in high school. And then with my stackable credentials too, that it lines up perfectly for what I'm thinking I want to do, and then will allow me to either keep on going with my schooling and just keep on stacking, or hopefully just get into something and maybe stay put for a while, but most definitely.
Well, I would say I think it takes a very special person to go and work in a middle school and say that they want to continue in middle school or high school. I've done a little bit about that work in brand screaming, but that was just me. Really grateful to have both of you as part of this work. Another question we have is around whether or not this is a volunteer slash unpaid position. Most of the members that are in the Youth Mental Health Corps they receive a stipend as part of their service, along with other benefits, healthcare benefits, mental health benefits, healthcare. For most members, they're receiving a stipend and other benefits. We do have some members that are in the practicum sort of route, as John mentioned, who are not receiving a stipend but are eligible for an education award. John, do I have that right?
Yeah, all of our members are receiving some kind of stipend, for sure, and the overwhelming majority are receiving approximately $20 per service hour, and then the education award that you mentioned at the end, and the other wraparound supports, health benefits, and things like that.
Thanks, John. And then I think we have an opportunity for one or two more questions. But one that we have that's come in is a question around the AmeriCorps federal budget cuts and how commissions can make this sustainable next year and over the longer term. And I can go and answer this quickly, and then John and Marie, if you want to add on to that. But for us at the Schultz Family Foundation and also at Pinterest, we really wanted to focus on this work originating and being led at the state level, because we believe that it is at the state level that that is where we can go and build out initiatives that are most connected to what the state, local, and community needs are, and also a way to go and really reach youth to really build that homegrown talent into the behavioral health workforce. And so for us, we are focused not just on what the federal funding streams might be for this, but also the state funding streams as well. And so we're really focused on what this looks like, especially as we build out sustainability for initiatives such as the Youth Mental Health Corps. And then John?
Sure. I mean, I thought you summarized it perfectly. I think this was a perfect example of how philanthropy and good corporate citizenship can spur innovation and really allowed us to build out this model. And now we're engaged with conversations at the state level about how to make this sustainable past this upcoming year. And so we're excited about those conversations. I won't say that the budget climate in the next couple of years is looking to be fantastic for this, but this is a high priority for the state of Colorado. And so we've had really welcoming conversations from a number of state leaders on this front.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Josiah and Madison. We are at time, so I'm going to go and turn it over to Marie to close us out.
I just want to say this is the perfect way to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of the Youth Mental Health Corps. We launched a year ago in Washington, D.C. at an event where it was still just really an idea. And so it's just been wonderful to be in conversation with all of you and really see and feel and hear the impact of the Youth Mental Health Corps after the first year. And I look forward to gathering again a year from now when the Youth Mental Health Corps will likely be twice as large and having that much more impact. So thank you all. Thanks to everyone on this call, and thanks for all who are supporting this work.
Thank you.